It's the Sumo Show, the podcast that discusses everything that's going on in Japanese Grand Sumo. Whether you've been steeped in sumo lore since the Heisei era, like me, Stan, or you're a dedicated fan who wants to get deeper into what's happening on and off the dohyo, like our good friend Troy, or you're brand new to the world of sumo and just want to learn what it's all about, no matter how much you know about the sport, the Sumo Show has something for you. So let's throw some purifying salt into the ring, do a few big Shiko foot stomps, and see what's new on this week's episode of the Sumo Show. So konnichiwa, everyone. And Okairi, welcome back to my co-host, Troy.
Well, hello, Staniel. How are you today?
I'm good, Troy. Long time no chat.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's been a hot minute. But
Hisashi desu. It's been a long time.
yes, absolutely. And today on this particular episode, we come with a special guest.
Beware Rikshi bearing gifts.
Beware Troy bearing the Fantasy Oyakata 2-time grand prize winner.
Yes,
which is really nothing.
It's not nothing. Not only is he won twice in a row.
Yes,
which only I've ever done before.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
In the 8 or 10 month history of our game.
Yes,
but he's participated twice and won twice. He has come out of nowhere and vaulted to the top of the fantasy sumo world.
Absolutely. And, he demanded that we play this. Hold on. Fantasy Oyakata. There he is, the man himself. We practiced this Masutarida. Nice.
I think that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it feels right to me.
We need a Japanese person.
Welcome, Masutarida.
Welcome to the show, my friend. And you got some splaining to do. How you could come out of nowhere and have all the answers just ready to go, unseat Stan, and then, go run away with the prize. How in the world? Well, first of all, thank you for being here again. And what even got you here? How did you get to us?
So I think it was through Reddit, actually. I think there was a post kind of encouraging participation in the Fantasy Oyakata. Mm-hmm. And I was just really into sumo at the time, and I was kind of entering all the competitions I could. And there's a couple others that I've done really well in as well. There was one where I was going toe to toe with someone. There's about 100 people in it, and then they stole it from me on the last day. But yeah, no, this one I was kind of keeping an eye on, and I really enjoyed watching you guys talk rubbish for an hour.
You're rubbish. You got us. You got our number. You know what I loved about it as well is that even it's hilarious how this all played out, because we looked at the choices that people had made, as they were coming in, and we even said on stream, like, what are these people thinking? Like, we looked at it like, I don't know. These people may not know much about what's going on, and then lo and behold, I mean,
I can't remember what the kind of initial view of my picks were from. I went going 2 Bashos ago when I won the first one.
Yeah, do you want
to? There was something in that first one that you had picked that I said, "What is he crazy?" And it turned out to be the pick of the.
That's right. It was a flood of people too that kind of picked the same Rikshi.
Right.
That we were just like, nah.
No, I mean, picking Aonishiki in the first time when it was his first tournament in the top division, because your first time you picked Onosato, Daisho, Wakataka Kage. You and I picked exactly the same down to there. We both picked Takeru Fuji. So the only difference was that you picked Aonishiki and I picked Onokatsu. And that was the difference in your first win.
Yeah, let's take a look.
And they're both doing really well. They're both doing really well as well. Like last tournament as well. They're both top of the Megashira.
And then last time, wrong one. You and I both. You and Troy. Again, Troy beat me last time too. So that's oh my god!
Oh yeah, no, that was a last minute. That was a last minute jump from Troy, right?
That's right. That's right.
You and Troy both picked I picked Onosato. So I I want it at least at that level. All three of us picked Daisho. Oh yeah, here it was. It was the last time you picked Abi, and it's like, what is he kidding? But then both of our picks did worse than Abi.
He delivered over our picks. Yeah.
Aowashi and Takeru
Actually,
Fuji.
Abi started strong. I think he had a winning record for most of the tournament, and then he just dropped off at the end.
Takeru Fuji's the one that let me down the most. It's his first time having a losing record when he was fighting.
I think the thing is,
losing records have been absence and injury related.
Yeah, and I think. Go ahead, please.
Go on, Troy.
I was just going to say, and I think the only reason why I won is because we realized that we didn't account for a special prize, right?
No, you beat me.
Oh, I did. Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah. No, you beat me by 3 points.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that feels good.
I was going to say with Takeru Fuji, it was like he jumped quite high in the rankings. I think between the last two tournaments, and I was thinking, was he M4 or I think it was like M4, M3, and I was thinking he's going to have a much harder run, much higher level of competition. And if you look at like the first couple of tournaments of the year, he was really struggling against the top guys. So that was the main reason that I didn't want to pick him, because I'll be honest, he's one of my favorite guys actually. But
yeah, you know what? I'll tell you my thoughts on that were that what I saw him doing the early part of this year was not going the quote unquote easy route for him. This straight ahead Supari fighting, how he won his one tournament and did so well. He's been making an effort to learn lots of different styles so he can fight on the belt. And it's like this thing that we knock so many of the wrestlers that only have one style. So I just had more faith that he'd come further, and it didn't pay out.
I'm a bit concerned about his build though, because I think he's very like top heavy.
Yeah,
you always joke about him being the skinny legs guy, even though his legs are probably like twice as big as yours.
Yeah,
but I do worry about his stability. Like there's these more grounded guys like Gonoyama and Takanosho are harder to move, but I worry a bit about that. But I think he's going to be a top sumo, a top Rikishi for a while.
So here's the thing, Alex. When we talked a little bit before the show, I was stunned to hear that you had been exposed to sumo as a child, but then didn't really take to it, and then you, as an adult, said, "Hey, I'm going to look into this," and then within 8 months became you sound like you know a lot about sumo. I've been doing this for 3 years. How many years?
We're over 3 years now. We're into our 4th year.
And I have no idea. I mean, I do not have the same information that you do. I mean, you're an expert. How in the world did you pull that off?
I think for me, it's all about, like, I'm an obsessive kind of character.
Sure.
When I get into something, I'm everything sumo. So my girlfriend's always complaining because I'm watching random sumo stuff on YouTube, and just because all the time I'm going back and watching old fights and everything. So yeah, going back to your previous point, I don't want to waffle too much, but yeah, I was exposed to it a little bit as a child. My dad was a big Chiyono Fuji fan. And but I was always interested in it, and I was keeping an eye on it every now and then. I kind of knew who Hoshoryu was even when I came back, but I didn't know much at all. I was in Japan in 2016 April, unfortunately, so I couldn't go to a Grand Sumo tournament. That was kind of the time when Hakuho was dominating.
Yeah.
And then when Grand Sumo was announced to be coming to London in the Royal Albert Hall, I straight away contacted my dad. I was like, we have to get tickets, and we actually got ringside seats.
Did your dad go to any of the previous times that Sumo's been in London? No,
it's going to be his first experience, and we have our ringside seats actually right at the front. So
nice.
It's going to be, I mean, because it's easier to get them. Whereas in Japan, it doesn't matter how much money you want to spend, you're not going to get anywhere near the front. But I mean, it's obviously it's not the same as the Grand Sumo tournament, but they're calling it Grand Sumo, but it's just a kind of it's not a sanctioned kind of thing. But the top guys are going to be there. It's going to be really good. And yeah, since that was announced, I've just been obsessed and got really into it. I watched the Kotozakura win at the end of the year, and then the first couple of tournaments, and I think I already had like some decent knowledge. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, by the way. I think I probably fluked the first 2 times in the Fantasy Oyakata, but I would say I'm more of an expert than most people who have only been into it properly for about 6 months.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it is a little bit suspicious, and I'll have you know that we do a side sort of investigative journalism, and because I'm deep into figuring out all of the shadowy organizations that surround Grand Sumo. I mean, and there are more than now. There's a new one. There's a whole new sumo thing happening that's going to be global, and it's just there's something going on, and I will get to the bottom of it.
Troy,
I've got collusion with the higher powers.
Right.
Troy's got his eyes on it. He's no fool.
I know something fishy when I smell it. Yeah. But and it's not a sea bream. Yeah, it's though I suppose it could be our buddy. Oh, what's his face? Why am I forgetting his name?
I don't know, but I'm gonna leave you hanging.
Oh, you're the rudest. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The most unlucky sea bream.
Yes, you're talking about your favorite Rikishi of all time, Shodai.
Shodai, yes, indeed. He is. Yeah, he's collectively this
Lord of Chaos.
Yeah. Collectively, we are big fans.
He shows up when he wants to, basically.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just crack that open since we're talking about our guy. So we have lots of opinions about why he does what he does. Like it just seems like he kind of gets into sort of I think we called him Eeyore before. We've called him, of course, the most unlucky sea bream, because if you look at a sea bream's face, they are very, very similar face shapes. During his when he won big and he was holding a sea bream, it looked like he was just holding kind of a low baby of himself. But what is wrong with Shodai? What is, from your perspective, what's going on with that guy?
Is that me or Stan?
Oh, I know
what Stan knows what I think.
My friend.
I don't know. It's weird because it's like, there's this other thing I'm doing where each day you can pick who you think is going to win. You pick 4 guys that you think are going to win. And if Shodai is involved in a fight, I'm never going to pick either Shodai or the other guy, because you don't know. It's like he turns up for the bigger fights, and when he's got an easy one, he can't be bothered almost, and he gets pushed and he just steps out, and then that's it. He leaves. But it's like, he wins when he wants to, is what it feels like at the moment, because he's got the ability, he's got the size, and he's obviously been he was Ozeki for a while, right?
Yeah.
So he's I mean, that's just Shodai, isn't it? So there are a few people like that I call them spoilers. I say like Shichi is probably another one.
Oh wow, okay. I want to talk about that guy, but I think that's what makes us angry.
Troy has a thing. He just has it's like a magnet. He goes for these guys. He likes these guys.
The troublemakers, the bad boys. No, I do not like them.
Abby the troublemaker.
Yeah. But so Shodai, it seems almost willful or petulant, or there's some kind of like energy that comes with his, it's a mood, it's a, and I think that's what, on at least from our view of him, that is so frustrating, because he can do it. It just seems like he just decides to be a brat or something, and just not like, he couldn't be bothered to, I'm not sure, we really haven't been able to articulate it well outside of just saying, what the hell, Shodai?
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone can articulate it.
Because I say it all the time, and then next time we talk about it, you want to have the same discussion again.
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, but I would love to hear. I like, I have new perspectives on the.
No, I just didn't want to be roped into your collective we on that. I know what's going on with Shodai. Just as anyone.
Yeah, yes, you do indeed. So for me, it's just interesting to kind of get into that. And Stan, I will say that we haven't necessarily cracked the code on what it is. I mean, it is weirdness, is what we general.
Yes, no, we've identified the behavior.
Yes,
exactly why he's doing that. Yeah, only his shrink knows that.
I think one thing we can all agree on is that Makuchi wouldn't be the same without Shodai. So he just needs to get a couple kachikoshis, because he's dropped down. I think he's M13. Maybe we'll get onto it at some point. I don't know what the schedule is for today, but
we're going to be looking at the Banzuke in a minute. Yeah, no, he's certainly sitting at that point where if he doesn't pull it together, he's going to drop out. And
he's hanging on by a thread. I mean, is it one more Basho away from him dropping to the?
It depends on how bad his performance is.
Right, he'll probably pull it out.
6 and 9 will be fine. I think 5. Yeah, he needs 6. I think he needs 6 wins, and he should get that.
Probably. Yeah, well, he should. He should get it.
Although, like I said before, he loses to the lower rank guys. So
at Maegashira 13, he should get a lot more than 6 wins.
All we know is going to be 0 wins.
All right, Troy? You want to go over and
look? Are we going Banzuke?
We are going to go. I've got to load it up. I'm going to share. I need to share that.
I'm posting a quick note to our Facebook friends as well.
Replace with that. There we go. All right. That should be good. There we go.
There we go.
The Banzuke for the 2025 Nagoya Basho, which starts in about just a little more than a week. One of the interesting things, and we talked about this, is they're going with a brand new stadium. They finished the new Nagoya Stadium, and everyone's talking about how much better it is. If nothing else, because it has air conditioning that works.
That's nice.
Apparently it's 37. It's been 37 degrees for the last. Well, that's Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's bloody hot. It's probably 100 odd.
Yeah.
In Fahrenheit.
And so will that solve some of the slippery issues that they have normally around this time of the year when people are all,
Well, to an extent, yeah. I know that Takakeisho, whatever his new Oyakata name is, was interviewed this week and was talking about how that was always a problem at Nagoya for all of the pusher thrusters.
Yeah.
The people you're fighting are already so sweaty that he said he'd just look at him and think, oh, here we go again.
Didn't he say recently that he thinks, well, he alluded to Daisho having a good tournament because of that.
Yeah, that Daisho should have a better shot than he usually does at Nagoya, and that he was predicting that a pusher thruster might win this time because of this. Maybe.
That's great.
It's gonna be Abi then.
All right, so here we go. We got our Banzuke up here from the official Sumo app, Grand Sumo app that you can get and that
you pay for, right?
I pay for. I do pay for it.
Don't delete us.
Oh yeah. We've got 2 Yokozuna. Isn't that grand? 2 Yokozuna.
Well, that's kind of remarkable. Yeah, we've had some things going on, right, as far as the structure of the Banzuke.
Yes. Hoshoryu, of course, is the top Yokozuna, being as he's been there before, despite the fact that Onosato won the tournament last time, which normally, if people are of equal rank, the one that did better the previous tournament will wind up being, particularly with Yokozuna, they order them based on how they did in the previous tournament. And same with Ozeki. But because Onosato is just promoted up to Yokozuna, he is the junior Yokozuna. And as I talked about when we talked about this last time, he is ranked as a Yokozuna Ozeki, which is not a lesser ranking. It's a purely technical thing because the rules say there have to be 2 Ozeki. There don't have to be any Yokozuna. There have to be 2 Ozeki for each of the home basho, each of the grand tournaments. So Onosato is a Yokozuna Ozeki. He's Ozeki West, and Yokozuna West.
Nice.
I was reading that this is the first time since March 2020 that you've got 2 actually kind of let's call it active Yokozuna. I think there's been there's been times since then. There's been 2, but one of them have been injured.
Yeah.
Hopefully 2 to compete for the whole tournament.
Yeah.
Since March 2020.
Now, do we know how long it's been since there has been a complete set at the top of the Banzuke? Like, is there? I mean, it seems to me I kind of feel like this is a bit of an asterisk because you're splitting you're splitting one person into 2 roles, which I don't know. I mean,
it's one of those purely technical things. It's not a knock on his level. It's not anything other than someone has to be designated as the Ozeki. My big question is, what are they going to do if if we lose? If Kotozakura, who has injured himself again, drops out? We need some more Ozeki, and they're just not lining up.
I mean, all 3 of them are reasonably close. I think if any of them gets 13 wins, they'll probably be pushed to Ozeki, right?
They could. We're going to pull up the Fred Pink's chart toward the end, and we'll be able to see how he's done in the last couple of tournaments. I think Daisho technically has a shot. Kirishima, I think, still needs one more tournament after this to.
Okay.
We'll see. I don't remember.
I'm interested, Alex, to hear your thoughts on Hoshoryu and some of the less than stellar start to his career as at the top of all this. I mean, we're big fans, love him, and we share these concerns not because we think we could do better, but because that's what we do here on the show. But I will say I was a little worried for him just because of the pressure of being at the top and then not delivering fresh out the gate. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they're kind of valid concerns. I'm a little bit biased because I say Hosh is my favorite Rikishi, because I just love watching him fight. He's really exciting. I just love he's slightly smaller as well, really technical. He utilizes a lot of judo, and I actually do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, so I've got a bit of a judo base as well, so I can really appreciate his style. But I think it's kind of valid. Like, I think the problem with him is I think it's a size thing. He's not gonna dominate every single person, because a small thing can happen with judo. Like, you can get like a suboptimal grip, and someone can push you down or push you out to the side, and a lot of the losses have come because of like one minor little thing that he's trying to get a better grip, and then he slips and gets pushed down and pushed out. Whereas Onosato is, I mean, for the last tournament, very hard to move him. Hosh seems to have Onosato's number, but it's, I think he's going to win. I think Hoshoryu is definitely going to win more tournaments. At the moment, it looks like Onosato might win some more, but
that's a new little point of pressure for the guy. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting rivalry. The other thing is, he seems to do worse, especially like 2 Bashos ago, against some of the like lower rank, kind of easier guys.
Which suggests it suggests that he's kind of in his head a bit. But what was unfortunate is to lose and then to have had to go away for injury. It painted a picture like. I mean, I'm glad that he did and got his head on straight or whatever he was doing. I don't know why I feel so dubious about the notion that he was so injured he had to drop out, but clearly some kind of course correcting needed to happen.
No, I agree. But yeah, hopefully he has a good. I've heard he's injured his left big toe or something in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Hopefully he. Hope that doesn't bother him. To be honest, I doubt it's going to be a big issue for him this tournament. So yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good to see him at the top. Onosato is going to have loads of pressure on him.
Yeah.
Yes. And Hoshoryu is going to have less pressure because he's not the sole Yokozuna. So it could be a competitive one.
Agreed. Yeah, and he's just fun to watch. Hoshoryu is so fun. Like, I mean, win or lose, sometimes he wears his heart on his sleeve. You just know exactly how he's feeling at the end of the match by looking at his expression.
It's epic. It's like the playoff from 2 tournaments ago when he beat Oho. Like that whole fight was just epic, back and forth, and then he got the better of him and threw him. So he said he's really
Yeah,
good.
and even if he loses the match, he gets this expression on his face like, what the hell just happened? It's the best. I love it.
No, I agree.
Awesome. Who are we? What are we talking about next, Daniel?
Well, I think that the Hoshoryu toe injury is an important thing to think about. It's unclear. It just happened on Friday, I think, or Saturday. I always get the anyway. He has stopped fighting, doing sparring with top level guys, and it's unclear how bad that toe is. And if it is bad, I mean that's the injury that took Hakuho down in the end. And a nagging big toe injury for the Yokozuna, for anyone, but for someone who's got to dominate, is huge. It's huge. It sounds minor, but it is just one of those things that you look at and think, wow, how did that bring him down? So I'm worried. I am worried about his big toe, because I also, I want to see him do well. I want to see a big, battle to the end between Hoshoryu and Onosato.
I mean that'd be great if that last day fight was for the win as well.
Yeah.
For the Yuko, that's the ideal. I guess that's what they want. But apparently it was his first time training with the Isegahama stable, and then I think that's where it happened. And he also noted Kusano was a really good training partner, and he's going to be awesome in the future.
Yes, he was talking about Kusano is one of the new guys, Troy, who's come up. He's one of the guys who's been everyone's been looking at and waiting for him to make his debut, and he's making his debut. And he got to train with Hoshoryu before he had to leave, and Kusano made some interesting comments saying that he was glad he got to do that, and he's glad he went in hard and was not just thrown around and made to look silly, because it's a good announcement for him and how hard he's going to be trying, and that he's not that he deserves to be here, but that he's not ready to fight Yokozuna yet.
Yeah, and also just the notion of Hoshoryu trying to wrestle with a broken toe or whatever. That is just, I mean, that small as it may be in the scheme of the size of a sumo, that's just I mean, was going to hop around on one foot. That's
I mean, and we've, as I said before, Hoshoryu's problem, from my perspective, Hoshoryu's problem is not the second week. Hoshoryu's problem is the first week. Right? He loses 2 or 3 times, and now he's playing catch up. And even like last time, he handed Onosato the final day defeat, showing how strong he is. But having lost on week 1,
it was a roller coaster ride.
So
it was the same in January, right? I think he was.
And it's not just then.
How many did he win in a row? He won like 8 or 9 in a row or something to get the U-shirt, right?
Yeah.
I think he was 6. He was 6-3. I think it was 6-3, and then he won. The last 6 days. Is that correct?
And if you go back and look at his career, that is his weakness. Is not whatever it is, whether it's mental or bad luck, like or just the bad grip has happened to come in those matches. But he and when he got his promotion, Troy, you and I were talking about this. The big problem is he has proven himself to be a 10 or 11 win Rikshi in a world where you need to be 13 wins to be a strong Yokozuna. And the problem is week 1. The problem is always week 1.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. I think 10 is acceptable, but as a Yokozuna, you're targeting a win every tournament, basically. I think anything less than 10, you're going to get told off.
Right. 10 is bare minimum, but it's acceptable. 10 is what you expect an Ozeki to do, right? As a Yokozuna, if you're just getting 10, people will probably talk a little bit, but not too much. But in order to be a strong leader, the top guy. In order to be someone who's winning multiple tournaments a year, you've got to be averaging 13 wins a lot over the course of the year. Got to be doing that multiple times.
Yeah, he's got a high bar to pass, given the past. Very interesting. What's going on with Kota Sakura?
What is going on with Kota Sakura?
Is he injured?
He tweaked his neck again. Or tweaked his back again. Oh, just the other day.
Yeah.
So I find it so hard to figure out what he's gonna do. Right? He's been primed to be this good for a while. It took him a while to get there, and now that he's here, he's just kind of still on the edge. He's living just on the edge rather than driving.
Scraping along 8 and 7 back to back.
So it's unclear. It was another one of those. It wasn't a big injury. But with 1 week to go, there's a question of how much is that going to interfere with his training? He was saying that he doesn't think that losing, not doing a lot of sparring is as problematic in Nagoya because it's so hot that he feels that loosens him up a lot more. But on the other hand, that could just be his. What are you going to say to the press? I'm sure I'm okay.
Yeah. He says, I don't know why. I don't know the reason, but I'll wrestle after tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. So then because everyone did so well, they opened up a new Sekiwake slot. They got 3 Sekiwake again. Daisho, Kirishima, and Wakataka Kage. All of whom seem to be, as Masutarada said earlier, in the running for an Ozeki promotion soon, if they can keep it up. And I would love it if they all did, but I don't know that I feel strongly that I'm convinced one of them will, or a particular one will.
Has Daisho ever been? I mean, he's been trying to get up here for some time now, right?
He's been up, and he's been
frustrating. It's frustrating. Has been like, I think he's been over 2 years a Sekiwake, and he's just so consistent at getting 8, 9, 10 wins, but not the 11 times 3, which is the benchmark, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at a thread on Reddit 4 years ago. They were talking about Daisho's Ozeki promotion.
Yeah. And I've talked. I know this is before you were watching, Troy, but Mitakeumi had that same kind of career as a great Sekiwake, and finally got promoted up to Ozeki, and injuries caught up with him very quickly. He didn't stay there long, but he, like Daisho, Daisho very much reminds me of him in that way. Really strong Sekiwake. It's a tough bar. Ozeki's a tough bar to clear.
Yeah. And he's been doing this crucible for some time now.
Yeah,
hovering in the most painful.
If Kota Sakura was Sekiwake now, I wouldn't be confident in him getting promotion to Ozeki.
Right.
He seems like a Daisho at the moment, 8, 9 wins sort of territory. But I mean, I'm probably getting carried away because he did get 14-1 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
I was going to say I think it might be tempting, depending on how he performs over the next couple of tournaments. It might be tempting to compare him to Shodai when Shodai was Ozeki, but I think it would be a bad comparison because Kota Sakura is not. He's not got that lackluster performance. He's just not doing it. He's
right
close. You never go into matches thinking, I don't know, maybe he won't show up today.
Right, he's still showing up. He doesn't have some of that.
Remember, I mean, when we started watching,
Sakura can win on the defense as well. I think that's the other big point. He walks backwards and then gets that up. That is it. Left in. He has one preferred grip.
Yeah.
And he takes everyone out.
Hey, where are your favorite? Oh, just real quick, I wanted to tell Alex, what are your favorite places to kind of get, aside from Reddit, which we talk about quite a bit, do you have websites and stuff that you go to kind of glean details about the wrestlers? Do you stick with the Sumo Association stuff?
So there's Sumo Stomp, which is really good. And I don't know who's running that, but there's lots of detail about the sumos and like a lot of specific detail about whether they're like Yotsuzumo style or, like you can learn a bit more about the kind of technical nature. And there's kind of like Sumo Stats, which is really good. I subscribe to someone on YouTube which I use to go back. It's only £1 a month, and I just go back in time and watch old fights, and I can go back and watch even like the Jurio or the lower divisions as well, Sandanme and all of that. And then actually Reddit is probably where I spend a lot of time as well, because there's loads of useful
Reddit
information.
Is fantastic, yeah.
And then YouTube, there's loads of stuff there. So I'm always watching like the Tatsunami stable stuff because I'm a big Hosh fan. Isegahama, they had like their like little Isegahama at Sports Day thing recently, which was really funny. And like I don't know if you guys have watched this. There was like a who's the strongest in Isegahama video as well, which was interesting just to see how they all get on. Actually, the winner of that, well, it was kind of between Teruno Fuji. I should have said spoiler alert, but between Teruno Fuji and there's a guy called Ochiru, and I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he's a Mongolian beast who's apparently going toe to toe with the best guys in Isegahama stable.
Interesting. Now, is he a young guy that's going to be wrestling, or is he there as a trainer?
So there's not much information about him, but what we know is that in the stable at the moment, you're only allowed one foreign Rikishi. So there's I can't remember his name. There's a tall Mongolian Rikishi from I think it's Seika Puho or something. I probably got that wrong. So that spot is currently taken, but they're hoping Ochiru. So I'm not sure how it's going to work if he goes to another stable or what's going to happen with him, because he's so good that he's hyped to be like the next big thing. And at the moment he can't do it. I don't know if Stan, if you've come across his name.
I've heard of. I don't have any insights beyond what you've said.
I mean, it's all rumors, right? But I don't think we've even seen him go against Hakuoho and these guys. But apparently, he's giving them a run for their money, and he's just a natural beast.
Very interesting. I didn't realize that there was a rule that said you could only have one foreign rikishi.
Yeah, per stable.
Put that in the database. Interesting.
Yeah. So you couldn't have Shishi and Aonishiki in the same stable, for example. I think there's a guy coming from the UK actually who's going to join a stable soon. I saw that on Reddit.
About this guy, I think, Stan. But it's anyway,
Estonian and Russian.
There are times when that gets not overlooked, but kind of ignored, and it's usually when two stables are forced to join, and they each have a foreign rikishi, and they get put together. So there have been times when there have been more than one in the same stable. I don't think that's going on at Isegahama at the moment. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. That's a rule that really needs to be looked at.
Yeah, it feels a little. It feels a little like outsiders. We only need one of you.
Well, it's going back to the 90s when that rule got put in.
Interesting.
Anyway, hey JJ, how's it going? Thanks for popping in.
Is that Tumfache?
That is JJ.
It is.
Tumfache. He is there.
I think it explains why the foreign rikishi are so good as well, because a lot of people kind of that don't understand that rule are looking into sumo and they're like, why there's so many top kind of foreigners in sumo, and there's hardly any kind of foreigners in the lower divisions. I think it's because they would only pick like the best of the best.
Yeah,
right.
But one thing that is interesting is the yokozunas being mostly Mongolian, like the top yokozunas being mostly Mongolian, which I think is a topic which is irritating the Japanese. But
yeah,
Onosato, I mean, all their faith's in Onosato, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And so,
yeah,
I'm looking at. Are we going to talk about Wakataka Kage?
What would you like to say about Wakataka Kage?
Or I'm just saying, are we moving to him next as far as who's next?
Well, we're looking at the Sekiwake right now, so yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yay, Wakataka Kage. Well, it's like he's looking
I'm
good.
I'm just saying I don't know what to expect from the Wakas and in Wakataka Kage. I'm not learned enough.
Kage is doing great. I mean, after he has come back from that awful injury I mean, there was a worry that he could get back to being this good. Like he had won a tournament and was doing really good, and they were looking at him as a possible Ozeki promotion, and then he got injured and dropped all the way down, had to go for that surgery, and it's been working his way back. And the kind of not rumors, but the worries, the scuttlebutt, the talk was hopefully he can get back to being close to as good as he had been, and I think he's looking better than he did before. So I think he may have the best chance of these three to do it. Maybe not this time, but if I was going to pick who among these three I thought was going to be the next, the most likely next Ozeki, I probably would pick Wakataka Kage.
Yeah, I agree, but it's a close one.
Yeah, I want it to be Kirishima. I was rooting him a year ago before he had his problems. I really like Kirishima a lot, but I have lost faith in his reliability.
I think the thing is, Waka is more likely to get kind of 11, 12 wins.
Yeah.
Then Daisho's consistent at getting Kachikoshis, but not more than like 10 wins.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be tough for him to string together 33 wins from 3 tournaments. Kirishima I think he can definitely do it. And I'd lean towards Waka. I think all three of them are really strong.
Yeah.
So it could go either way.
Yeah, I think any of them can do it. There's a world where all three of them do it. But I don't think that's the world we live in. I don't think that's what we're going to see.
Which is why that my initial hesitance. I mean, and I picked him before to be, as far as Fantasy Oyakata, and he didn't quite deliver, which was a moment. But
yeah,
I like his wrestling.
The Wakas have hurt you. I understand that.
They have been hurt by the Wakas. Yeah, both of them.
I mean, speaking of the Wakas, I think this is the first time there have been 3 pairs of brothers in the top division.
Yeah.
It's a time for family.
It is a time for family. Yes, that's what we say about sumo. At sumo, you're family. I love it.
So at Komusubi, we've got Oshoma and Takayasu, both of whom are interesting because Oshoma got pumped up there because everyone in the top 5 had a Makekoshi last time. He got a really big jump, bigger than you'd usually see. And Takayasu, who had been Komusubi last time, was Makekoshi. He wasn't 7 and 8 Makekoshi. He was 6 and 9 Makekoshi, and manages to keep a Komusubi ranking because everyone in the Maegashira 1 to 5 lost last time.
Yeah.
So one of the commentators I was listening to had looked it up, and in the like 120 some odd times in the modern era, a Komusubi had gone 6 and 9, and none of them did they get to stay as a Komusubi until now.
I think it's because Papayasu is a fan favorite.
That certainly is got to be people like him, so that's got to be in his favor. But there's no way if anyone in the top 3 had a winning record last time that he would have been able to keep that rank.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I was disappointed how Nishiki didn't get the.
Yeah, but he got that being promoted to Maegashira 1 is still such a huge leap. Let's see, Maegashira 7 last time, as good as his record was, letting him jump all the way to Komusubi is just...
Actually, it was Maegashira 9.
9, even lower. So
9, 11 minus 4, 7. So
yeah,
I mean, he shouldn't have gone to Komusubi, but I'm not sure if you do the maths of Takayasu's -3 and Aonishiki's +7, where that puts you. Yeah, it's interesting.
Oop, didn't need to do that. All right. So then we see Aonishiki is at Maegashira 1 along with Wakamoto Haru. And here's what our new top 5 Maegashiras look like after that weird shakeup. And this is going to look really interesting when we go to Fred's chart. We got Oho and Abi at Maegashira 2, Onokatsu and Kinbozan at Maegashira 3, Hakuoho and Tamawashi at Maegashira 4, and Hiradomi and Meisei at Maegashira 5. So I look at this group, and it's again a group where I'm like, I'm not sure who. I think we're not going to see the same kind of performance that we did last time, but there aren't a lot of people there that I look at that are. I'm sure I want to pick him on my team, right? For our upcoming thing, picking a upper Maegashira is going to be a challenge again this time.
Yeah, it really is. I'm thinking, we'll talk about that when we get closer to sharing the Fantasy Oyakata forum and all that good stuff. Yeah,
I should. You know what? It's worth saying right now for people who are watching. The Fantasy Oyakata forum is open for applications, and you've got until next Saturday to fill it out. So now's the time to start thinking about it.
You'll find the link in our show notes on YouTube, or you will see it in chat if you're watching on demand.
Alex, do you have any leads on who you think you're likely to pick in this group?
I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but
shoot.
I mean, I think I probably spoiled some of the higher ones already with my talk.
A little bit. I was going to ask for clarity, but smart of you to hold your cards close to your chest. Yeah,
I mean,
it's a shame we're not doing this after the the picks are locked in.
But particularly on the Banzuke show, I don't mind saying, because I'm not going to make a decision until after I see what happens in this week's upcoming training, which means a lot. So,
at the very least, if people wait for some of that information, they will be protected from picking the person that injures themselves and is out, which has happened many times for some of our folks who will listen.
All right, so then we'll shift into the middle. We got, starting at Maegashira 6, Takeru Fuji's there, Gonoyama, Tobizaru and Endo at Maegashira 7, Sadanoumi and Ichiyamamoto at Maegashira 8, Uda and Chiyoshima at Maegashira 9, and Atami Fuji back into that middle section again, and Roga at Maegashira 10. I tell you, the thing when I look at this Banzuke, the one thing I thought is there's just a whole bunch of question marks out there. I don't feel there's a whole lot of I don't feel confident that I know who's going to perform well.
Right. Yeah,
it's going to be tricky.
I mean, I love Tobizaru, but he's not gonna be the guy.
Tobizaru at Maegashira 7 is getting to that area where he might just kick everyone's butt again and go launching up to too high on the Banzuke, like he has a tendency to do.
Yeah. I think sub 4 is kind of like a sweet spot for like the good but not great guys. So it could be something for Tobizaru, but it's like Takanosho, for instance. He didn't do that well the last Basho, did he? And I expected him to do really well given how low down he was.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one. I mean, Sadanaumi at M8 is, I think if you told me that a few months ago, I'd be surprised he's going to go up there. When I was watching him in Juryo, he wasn't like dominating, and then
Yeah, he sure seemed like he's late in his career. He's one of the oldest guys in the division, and it seemed like time was catching up with him. And it's like he suddenly drank someone introduced him to Red Bull.
Yeah.
So how long that'll last, I don't know, but he's looking good. He's been looking good.
I'd be surprised if anyone gets him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think I picked him in the past for, just because I was like, I'm a fan, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop picking him, but I'm still a fan. What about Endo? Like, where do we see Endo?
Endo's another person who he looked like, and he bounced down to Jurio for a tournament last year, and he's also was looking like, all right, well, it seems like he's on his last legs, and he's been rejuvenated.
Yeah, he's an older guy too, right? Is he
not quite that old, but yeah, he's in his early 30s.
Yeah.
It's funny. You're talking about watching old matches on YouTube, and I was catching some matches from 10 years ago and seeing Endo when I first started getting back into watching in 2015, and how young he looked, and being reminded, oh yeah, no, he's got 10 years on him. Those were not the easiest 10 years.
No, not at all. Yeah.
But certainly I found it very interesting to watch. His style is the same. His sumo style is the same, but he carries himself with a much more been there, seen that look to him.
What about the way he falls out of the dojo?
Oh my
as well?
God! Yeah,
like every time he looks like he's not going to get up.
Right.
The fact that if that keeps going on, I want him to retire. I want some doctor to tell him he has to retire.
Right.
That's got to be a post-concussion thing. It didn't used to be that way. He used to be able to fall down and not get dizzy.
And that's I worry about that the most. I mean, that's just the kind of thing that you don't want to be sailing into your sumo retirement at the old age of 38 or whatever, and just have brain injury or something. I mean, that just bothers me a lot about it.
I think it might be a knee protection thing as well, because one thing I noticed is he falls out, and then rather than trying to land on his feet and kind of like catch his balance, he falls straight onto his back. It's like he doesn't want his knee joints to take the impact.
Right.
Like I've had 8 knee injuries in jiu-jitsu in like a couple of years, so I know all about knee injuries. And I'm like, if I was to just land straight onto my feet from a big height, I'd want to sort of absorb it and fall back. But it's just the way he falls and he's lying there, like
the way he favors that knee.
It's not
the way he flops on his back is just hilarious. Like I think the last tournament, if you were to get up all of his losses, in fact, I think he even beat Shishi in the tournament where Shishi stepped out.
Yeah.
And then Shishi managed to push him out, and he fell and took a while getting up. So.
Yeah. It's not. For me, it's not. I think, like you say, it's smart if you're going out like that to do that kind of roll. But when he lies there and takes 30 seconds before he even sitting upright, that's
unusual.
What worries me.
Yeah, JJ, he says, "What we love wrestlers with CTE, of course, like traumatic brain injury." I forget what the C is. It's like cephalopodplasty or something, something like that. I'll look it up. But yes, we do too.
All right, so then we go down to the lower Maegashira ranks, and we have Takanosho and Toki Hayate at Maegashira 11, Midori Fuji and Asakoryu at Maegashira 12, Tsurunomi and Shodai at Maegashira 13. Kusano, you see a little picture there. I don't know if you can see it there. His hair is not long enough to put in a top knot. He's our young up-and-comer. And Fujinokawa at Maegashira 14. Koto Shoho and Hide Naomi at Maegashira 15. Kaio and Takayumi. Takayumi's still hanging on. Wow. I thought he was going to be in Jurio for sure. Maegashira 16. And Koto Eiho and Shishi just hanging on by the skin of his teeth.
Shishi's a weird one. Fascinating to me, that guy.
I mean, it's good to see him stay up as well. But his antics pre-Tashiai seem to annoy everyone as well.
In two pieces, they hate that little I don't know what it is, sort of a Wario stance. It's just really strange. It's funny, but then they told him to stop it, and he lost all of his power. So they did something to him.
He needs to charge with the bouncing.
Yes, right. Yeah, he's something. That is just such a what a moment to be a professional sumo wrestler who had made it to the top, and for them to say, "Could you please not do that little waggle, the butt waggle, or whatever they were calling it?" That he had to be taken to task for it. That is just such a it's a strange one. It's a strange one, and it
happens every once in a while. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. I want to say it was Koto no Show, but I don't think I'm right about that. But he was a guy built in the same physical mold as kind of Gono Yama and people like that. He used to have his fingers taped up so they looked like penguin flippers. He just but he was all about hitting. But he had gotten to the point where he started each match by coughing, doing this loud barking cough right before he went on, and the Sumo Association pulled him aside and said, "Knock it off." And he started losing. Like, he needed that. That was part of his routine. But and it would echo in the stadium, and the crowd loved it. The Sumo Association did not like it at all.
But there's some other signature moves.
I understand the Shishi one because it's almost like feinting. So then the other guy doesn't know when to start, and he gets a little jump on the opponent. But I don't get this coughing. The coughing one doesn't really make sense. I don't see how that would have been. I mean, there's a lot of traditions, I guess, in sumo. That's the thing, and that's why we love it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So many new ones that I learn about every time we talk about the sport. But what do they call that thing that they're doing? What is it? The opening move, a stance? Is there some terminology for it, or is it just the weird thing you do before the match starts?
I don't know of a term for that position. Yeah. Doesn't mean there isn't one. But
all the more reason to investigate deep these shadowy organizations and their.
What is the proper name for that butt wiggle?
Or the place wherein the butt wiggle happens, right? I mean, we'll get to the bottom of this.
We'll have to ask Shishi.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
We'll get him on the next show.
I bet there's a Ukrainian word for it.
Certainly there is. Yeah,
we call it twerking. No, Shishi, that's not what we're talking about.
It is It was pretty much a slow motion twerk. Yeah. Who else do we love here? I mean, our new.
So who do we see here in this bottom rank? Who are look at them poised to have a spectacular tournament. Takanosho is a good one you mentioned already.
He should. I mean, he should do well, but it's just I think he barely got a Kachikoshi last time. Yeah, I think Kusano is someone that I'm really looking forward to watching. I've been monitoring him at Jurio this year. Yeah, I think he went 14-1 2 tournaments ago,
two.
Was it 13-2? I can't remember his last. I can't remember what he got in his last tournament, but he won them both. Yeah. So he's we're talking over each other. I was going to say he's.
Sorry. Yeah, go for it.
He's going to be one to watch for sure. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. I think he'll probably do well against the, I don't know, let's say easier opponents, but he might struggle if he goes up to kind of Takanosho, Atami Fuji level.
JJ says Shishi is a buffoon. JJ, you don't have strong opinions, do you?
JJ has some feels, yeah, for sure. That's great. Yeah, there you go. We'll
I also am very anxious to see how Kusano does, but Onokatsu was the last person that came into this position, coming up after dominating Jurio, and I was so sure they were going to do great. And boy, did he let me down, and I don't know if I'm ready to trust again.
Yeah, no, yeah. This is a rogues gallery of men that have hurt us. But yeah, interesting.
I mean, the guys that have come up from Jiri are always interesting. Like you've got Kotoshoho's brother Kotoeho, and you've got I think it's Tobizaru's brother Hidenoumi, right? Someone was thinking it's Hiradoumi's brother. I think they were just confusing the names.
Yeah, I think you got those.
I think he's Tobizaru's brother, right?
I think it's Hiradomi, not Hidanomi, but yes.
But I'm
Well, there's
thinking
three.
too.
Either way, there's three brothers in the top division.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Roga was a bummer for me too. I'd hoped for more from Roga.
I think
And
Roga has, because I remember we started talking about him when he was coming back from having been demoted at the same time that Asanoyama did before getting hurt a second time, and he came back and shot up the ranks.
Yeah.
But he really was outperforming him. He was never that good. Like this, right around the Maegashira 8 to Maegashira 12 is about his level.
Yeah, and not, of course, not being not having enough historical information. I will just say that I did hope that he would have been a little better, but he didn't quite get there.
just in JJ's comment on Kaio.
Yeah.
I love watching him. He's hilarious to watch. He's unbelievably agile, but he seems like he seems like he has no balance at the same time. But he just bounces around and spins, and then next thing you know, he wins. But my dad and I just call him the spinning top. is how we describe him. But he did quite well last tournament. To be fair, I think he started a bit slow, but he started getting some wins towards the end, I think.
He pulled out some wins that I was shocked that he managed to win. But like you say, he stayed in. He got himself in really unsupportable positions and managed to support them. All right, so that's what the Banzuke looks like. That's what we have to work with for our next thing, for our next game. We've got a week to figure it out. But before we step away from this, why don't we take a look at Fred Pink's chart?
Yeah, let's do that. And then while we're pulling that up, folks, make sure that you are liking and subscribing, and that you are, following us on Facebook, which you can find by, heading to Facebook and looking for The Sumo Show. We are the only The Sumo Show, except for the other one, which is primarily on YouTube, which I haven't actually seen a peep from that. The algorithm keeps bringing us new resources and people to meet, and we saw The Sumo Show. We're like, hey, you just started. Why don't you not do that? But we need more of the Sumo Shows. Why not? Let's get 5 or 6.
Why not?
Oh, did Kaio do a henka? I'm looking at JJ's comment in. He did a henka, but he's so wide that he couldn't get out of the way fast enough. Butter boy.
I mean, he's got a unique style for sure. I was just looking at his record last tournament. It looks like he beat Atami Fuji and Takanosho back to back, which is
it's not left. Yeah.
All right, so roll it on when you're ready.
I love Fred Pink's charts. Friends, you can pick this up yourself if you like. You just go to fredpink.com and you can download a historical reference to all of this stuff. He's been on the show before, and we love his charts.
We do. It's so nice to see these lines and what they tell the story that you already knew. Like, look up there in the first tier. we got all our very top guys straight across. They all won. They did fine. And then look at that chunk of nothing but red.
Right. Yeah, that's the hardest part right there. That's where the sumo go to win or very much lose. Yeah.
And
that's
then
Wakamoto Haru all the way down to Chiyoshima going down.
Yeah. All losing records. And look at the numbers. We got 4s and 5s. Woof. Woof. Not good.
Not good, yeah.
You
know, we look at these sometimes and we kind of talk about it takes on a shape of like, you know, there's that stability at the top and then, but yeah, this is chaos, pure chaos here.
Lots of steep lines up and down. And that's
right.
That usually means there's going to be a lot of switching next tournament too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But to be fair, I don't know that I can't recall a Basho where it's been just this smooth sort of, you know, everything
it's
is
never going to be smooth. But I mean, we're looking at some of those historical ones where the top 7 were just straight acrosses or shifts, minor shifts, and you have that really stable top. This is so much better than our gear
that
shift
has been. Right.
But what we have right now is that right below it is churning chaos.
That's right. That's right. Who took the most precipitous drop? Is it Shishi?
Well, Shishi's looked pretty
okay, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, a bunch of straight lines would be boring, right? And then imagine a tournament where everyone gets 7 and 8 or 8 and 7, and you play off with like 12 Rikishi playoff.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm hoping someday to see that, but
that would be great. Everyone comes to my house.
Everyone comes to Stan's house, right?
I was actually looking at the detail on what would happen if you had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-man playoffs, and it gets quite interesting.
It gets crazy. It gets crazy. It's been a long time since there's been something.
Yeah, what is the biggest number of folks in a playoff?
The only one that I've ever seen was a big 5-man playoff in the 90s.
I was going to say 5. I think there's been at least 7 in Juryo once.
Yeah,
and that was an interest. I think what happens is 6 of them have to go against each other, so there's like 3 and 3, and then you end up with one guy who gets like a bye into the next round, and then from the next 4 they do like a 2 and 2, and then it's almost like a tournament that way rather than like who gets 2 wins first wins.
Yeah.
But
I see. Yeah.
There's different rules depending on how many men you have in the playoff.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm gonna look into that just because I'm fascinated by how, you know, and how they come to those rules, and you know, if they're, you know, how often do they have to employ the special rules? It doesn't seem like a lot. So yeah.
There was someone on Reddit predicting another 3-man playoff between Hosh, Onosato, and Wakataka Kage.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
He had Onosato winning a second playoff match against Hosh. That'd be
interesting.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to beat someone 2 times in a row at that level because they're so evenly matched. So yeah, again, we see that the Takayasu getting to keep his Komusubi because Oshoma is jumping up already from Maegashira 6 to become a Komusubi. And the line for, we were talking about it before, Aonishiki from 9 that's the steepest up already. Imagine making that up into Sanyaku.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of people talking about that fact. I just haven't seen really anybody yet. But I mean, you know, are people kind of raising an eyebrow, or you know, it's just sort of par for the course?
I think that the eyebrow raising, a lot of it happened after the last tournament when people saw what was going to happen, and people have been guessing. There was already, dropping Takayasu down 1 to Komusubi, and everyone in Maegashira, who are you going to pick for Maegashira 1? Someone's got to come up to Maegashira 1, and you don't get any options until you hit Maegashira 6 and 7. And so there were people had predictions, but I don't think anyone is super shocked that it had to turn out. Something like this had to happen. No matter what it was going to be, wow, don't see that a lot.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how he does, because obviously he's going to face a much tougher strength opposition. But I mean, he's just awesome. Like, he seems like he's learning and developing day by day. He's unbelievably technical. He's really, really strong, and he's not that heavy either, so he can move around fast. And the micro adjustments that he makes in fights are unbelievable. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but possibly the best fight of the whole last Basho was him versus Meisei, where he looked like he was out, and the way he was like and recovering and making little adjustments here and there, and then eventually, I feel like, I don't know if he got behind him in the end, but it was like really technical, just a showcase masterclass performance. But I mean, he might struggle like Takeru Fuji did when he came up, but he's completely different style to Takeru Fuji, so who knows?
Right, and he's got. I mean, one of the things that let him do that, let him have that opportunity against Meisei, is that Meisei was not able to manhandle him, and a lot of these guys up there, if they only get as good a grip as Meisei did on him, they will do more with it.
Interesting. Well, now, Alex, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you when you said who you were picking for the upper Maegashira Rikishi. Who was that? What was that name you were gonna? I'm just curious. Did I miss it? Did you say it? Shoot.
I mean, I'm not actually sure, but it could be Aonishiki. I think Aonishiki is quite risky when you pick, I don't know, an up and comer, like young prospect who just can't gone up a big jump in rankings. You often see this up and then back down. I'm sure if you went back the previous tournaments, usually up, down, up, down, up, down all the time. So to go up and then up and then up and then up, like it doesn't happen very often. It will be people like on a plateau, but it's gonna be interesting for sure.
I'm looking at that run between Abi and Hakuoho. Like one of those four there is the one that I'm likely to choose. Abi, Onokatsu, Kimbozan, and Hakuoho.
Right.
But none of them are screaming, "Pick me."
Right. Yeah, that's exactly. I was like, Very. Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around also the middle Maegashira. I'm not sure who that.
Also, every time he drops out of Sanyaku, he seems to have a great tournament. Like you think, okay, he's done, and then once he manages to lose his Sanyaku rank, he says, "Oh wait, no, I'm serious about this."
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's the other thing I'm going to do that I haven't done quite as much of is I'm going to do some comparisons of some of my initial picks to how they performed based on Fred Pink's stuff here. Maybe I can. I'm trying to find the perfect formula to to crack the code on winning.
Yeah.
Again, but I don't know. Fighting against you two in this Fantasy Oyakata, folks, you'll find the link in chat. It's tough.
I tell you, I'm hoping that we can get more people. We went from having one of our largest competitive groups to one of our smallest competitive groups over the last two, and it was great. And the tight competition last time between us was great, but it was really wild to have 11 people competing. So I'm kind of hoping this time we managed to get people's attention.
Well, we're going to promote it for sure. And so now we've got, just to clarify, we've got from now until Saturday. Is that right?
A week from today, the 12th at noon Pacific time. And I'll tell you right now, I've got a wedding to attend that day, so you're going to have longer than
that. Yeah. Brace yourselves for more time. Yeah, fair enough. We'll post it.
I'll probably leave it last minute then. Because there's a lot. A lot that's going to happen in the next week. Like Stan said, the training.
Yeah.
But I also need to design a regression model as well, so I can predict who's gonna win.
Yeah.
All right. So if you do that, we have to have you back and to kind of see how you did that, or if you care to give me some instructions on how you analyze the whole stuff before, I can make.
That'll take way too long.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be interesting. We've got some new things to consider and new people to kind of fit into the mix, and some old people to, are they going to bring it or not? Or there's a lot of questions. Maybe I'll pick Shodai. Who knows?
Maybe you will. And Shodai down there, that low on the totem pole is maybe it's time to pick him. Or maybe he really is. Maybe he's going to take his sea bream down to Jurio next time.
Absolutely, he's going to aim straight for the middle, and there he will sit.
JJ's going to be in this. Okay, JJ, we're counting on you.
All right, we are. Yeah, JJ. Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, what's up?
I think that's what we got.
Alex, thank you so much for joining us. I'm skipping over Masu Tarida. Thank you for hanging out. What a blast. And what, for somebody who we just kind of connected with, very recently, what a delight was to have you on the show. You could have been much weirder.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't know what you were going to get, but no worries. No worries. It's been a pleasure.
Fantastic. So you'll come back again?
I'm looking for a three-peat.
You know what? If you do that, you will be the first person to. Right now, you've tied me.
Oh, it's serious business. All right. Well, we'll have to. And who knows?
I always feel a little embarrassed when I win my own game, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to try.
I think the all-time list is the three of us basically at the top at the moment. So
that's right.
We need some new blood, I think.
And how I got there, it was purely by watching and copying Stans. So anyway, absolute delight. Thank you so much for agreeing to kind of hang out with our nonsense here, or as you so aptly put, rubbish. One of my new favorite ways of referring to the show. But yeah, should I get those drums out, Stan?
Just a sec. I need to get my script up.
No worries.
I'm going, goodbye, everybody.
Right. Exactly. All right. Shall we do it?
Let's do it. Oh, wait, no. Stop. Time out.
I'm not doing
back.
It.
When we'll be back next Friday?
Yes.
All right. We'll be back next Friday.
We'll see you next Friday, and that'll be at
regular
7 p.m. Yeah, our regular time. But for now, here's some drums. Oops, there's some drums. I dropped them. Sorry.
Don't drop the drums. They're expensive. You have been listening to The Sumo Show, a live podcast about the art and sport of sumo. Your hosts tonight have been Stan Brown and Troy Hewitt, with special guest star Masu Tarida. Production by Troy Hewitt. Sommeliering by Stan Brown, and initial charge by Tachi Troy. So until next week, we say to you, Ja mata ne.
Bye.